Relieving withdrawal pangs. As I explained earlier, porn masturbation orgasmers think they do it for enjoyment, relaxation, or some sort of education. In fact, this is an illusion. The actual reason is the relief of withdrawal pangs. In the early days, we used the porn as a curious and novel thing, or even educational, or as a rebel. We can take it or leave it. However, the subtle chain has started. Our subconscious mind begins to learn that internet porn and masturbation, taken at certain times, tends to be pleasurable. The more we become hooked on the drug, the greater the need to relieve the withdrawal pangs, and the further the porn masturbation orgasm draws you down, and the more you are fooled into believing it is doing the opposite. It all happens so slowly, so gradually, you are not even aware of it. Each day you feel no different from the day before. Most young porn masturbation orgasmers don't even realize they are hooked until they actually try to stop, and even then many won't admit to it. A few stalwarts just keep their heads in the sand all their lives, trying to convince themselves and other people that they enjoy it. Listen to this conversation a therapist had with hundreds of teenagers. Therapist: you realize that internet porn is a drug, and that the only reason why you are using it is that you cannot stop. Porn addict: nonsense. I enjoy it. If I didn't, I would stop. Therapist: just stop for a week to prove to me you can, if you want to. Porn addict: no need. I enjoy it. If I wanted to stop, I would. Therapist: just stop for 1 week to prove to yourself you are not hooked. Porn addict: what's the point? I enjoy it. As already stated, porn masturbation orgasmers tend to relieve their withdrawal pangs at times of stress, boredom, concentration, relaxation, or a combination of these. This point is explained in greater detail in the next few chapters. Stress. I am referring not only to the great tragedies of life, but also to the minor stresses, the socializing, the telephone call, the anxieties of the housewife with noisy young children, and so on. Let us use the telephone conversation as an example. For most people, the telephone is slightly stressful, particularly for the businessman. Most calls aren't from satisfied customers or your boss congratulating you. There's usually some sort of aggravation, something going wrong, or somebody making demands. Then he or she comes home to the mundane family life of kids screaming and wife's emotional demands on you. His already porn masturbation orgasm weakened de-stressors are in no way ready to take the aggravation. At that time, the porn masturbation orgasmer, if he isn't already doing so, will fantasize the relief of internet porn that he promised himself that night. He will even allow himself to take one step more into the forbidden area that he had previously self-excluded. He doesn't know why he does this, but he does know that for some reason it appears to help. What has actually happened is this. Without being conscious of it, he has already been suffering aggravation, i.e. the withdrawal pangs. By partially relieving the aggravation at the same time as normal stress, the total stress is reduced and the porn masturbation orgasmer gets a boost. At this point, the boost is not, in fact, an illusion. The internet porn user will feel better than before. However, even when using porn to masturbate, he or she is more tense than if they were a non-porn masturbation orgasmer, because the more you go into the drug, the more it knocks you down, and the less it restores you when you masturbate. I promised no shock treatment. In the example I'm about to give, I'm not trying to shock you. I am merely emphasizing that porn masturbation orgasm destroys your nerves rather than relaxes them. Try to imagine getting to the stage where you cannot get aroused, even with a very sexy and attractive partner. Just for a moment pause and try to visualize life where one very lovely and charming woman has to compete and fail with all the virtual porn stars who are in your harem to get your attention. Try to imagine the frame of mind of a man who, issued with that warning, actually continues porn masturbation orgasming and then dies without ever having had real sex with this charming and willing real woman. I had read real-life stories like that from men and dismissed them as weirdos. In fact, I used to wish a doctor would tell me that this weird condition would happen if I continue porn masturbation orgasm. Then I would have stopped. Yet I was already fully expecting that porn-induced erectile dysfunction and hypofrontality were guaranteed to make me lose in a brain war. I didn't think of myself as an impotent, just a heavy porn masturbation orgasmer. Now let's talk about the stress that this is putting on me. Such weird stories as the above are not fakes. That is what this awful novelty porn drug does to you. As you go through life, it systematically takes away your nerve and courage. The more it takes your courage away, the more you are deluded into believing the porn is doing the opposite. Have you ever been overtaken by panic when you are out on business travel and the hotel Wi-Fi is down or too slow? Non-porn masturbation orgasmers do not suffer from it. The internet porn drug causes that feeling. At the same time, as you go through life, porn masturbation orgasm not only destroys your nerves, but keeps building a powerful neural water slide, delta false B, progressively destroying your ability to say no. By the time the porn masturbation orgasmer reaches the stage at which it has killed his virility, he believes the porn masturbation orgasm is his new girlfriend and cannot face life without it. Get it clear in your head that internet porn is not relieving your nerves. It is slowly but steadily destroying them. One of the great gains of breaking the habit is the return of your natural confidence and self-assurance. There is no need to self-rate based on your ability to get hard or to satisfy a woman. However, you do know deep inside that this is slavery. It is not freedom. And that freedom cannot be achieved by continuing to grease, repeating the same behavior and energizing the waterslide neural pathways of your brain in ways that undercut your happiness in general, and not to mention your libido. Boredom. As soon as you get into your bed, and if you are like many people, you are already on your favorite tube site, you will probably have already forgotten about it until I reminded you. It has become second nature. Another fallacy about porn masturbation orgasming is that it relieves boredom. Boredom is a frame of mind. The only time that happens is when you have been deprived for a long time or are trying to cut down, or during the first few porn masturbation orgasm sessions after a failed attempt to stop. The true situation is this: when you are addicted to internet porn's supranormal novelty, and then you decide to abstain from internet porn, there is something missing. If you have something to occupy your mind that isn't stressful, you can go for long periods without being bothered by the absence of the drug. However, when you are bored, there's nothing to take your mind off of it. So you feed the monster. When you are indulging yourself, i.e. not trying to stop or cut down, even firing up your incognito browser becomes subconscious. The porn masturbation orgasmer can perform this ritual automatically. If any porn masturbation orgasmer tries to remember the session during the last week, he can only remember a small portion of them, e.g. the very last one, or after a long abstinence. The truth is that porn masturbation orgasming tend to increase boredom indirectly, because orgasms make you feel lethargic, and instead of undertaking some energetic activity, porn masturbation orgasmers tend to prefer lounging around, bored, relieving their withdrawal pangs. This is why countering the brainwashing is so important, because it's a fact that porn masturbation orgasmers tend to masturbate when they are bored, and that we're wired to interpret porn masturbation orgasm as interesting. It doesn't occur to us to question the fact how a two-dimensional supranormal stimulus relieves boredom. We've also been brainwashed into believing that sex, even bad sex, aids relaxation. It is a fact that when under stress or sad, couples want to have sex. In the absence of discrimination between amative and propagative sex, the goal is set to achieve orgasms by hook or by crook. Next time you do this, watch how you both want to get away from each other as soon as it's over. It is obvious that if they had just decided to cuddle, speak, hug, and touch each other, and go to sleep without the mandatory orgasms, the couple would have felt relieved. Well, if in the process they wanted to have the propagative part, then by all means they can, but that is a topic not meant to be discussed in this book. Concentration. Sex and masturbation do not help concentration. That is just another illusion. When you are trying to concentrate, you automatically try to avoid distractions. So when a porn masturbation orgasmer wants to concentrate, he doesn't even have to think about it. He automatically porn masturbation orgasms. Partially ending the craving, gets on with the matter in hand, and has already forgotten that he just porn masturbation orgasmed. Sex, in general, do not help concentration. After years of masturbation, your brain changes affect abilities such as assessing, planning, and impulse control. The porn masturbation orgasmer is already suffering. That little monster wants his fix. You are also stressed to provide novelty for the next porn masturbation orgasm session, as the same stuff will not generate enough dopamine and opioids. You have to roam the internet streets for novelty, all the while fighting the pull to cross the line towards shock. This creates more stress. After you orgasm, you feel unfulfilled as well. Concentration is also affected adversely for another reason. Your dopamine receptors have already started to get reduced by building up natural tolerance to these large surges, reducing the benefit of the smaller dopamine boosts from natural de-stressors. In fact, your concentration and inspiration will be greatly improved as this process is reversed. For some, it will be the concentration aspect that prevents them from succeeding when using the willpower method. They could put up with the irritability and bad temper, but when they really need to concentrate on something difficult, they have to have that porn fix. I can well remember the panic I felt when I had discovered that the hotel has no internet connection, and I had this huge presentation the day after. The loss of concentration that porn masturbation orgasmers suffer when they try to escape is not, in fact, due to your abstinence from sex, let alone porn masturbation orgasm. When you are addicted to something, you have mental blocks. When you have such a block, what do? You fire up the browser. That doesn't cure the mental block. So then what do? You do what you have to do. You get on with it, just as non-porn masturbation orgasmers do. When you are a porn masturbation orgasmer, nothing gets blamed on the cause. Porn masturbation orgasmers never have erectile dysfunctions. They just have an occasional downtime. The moment you stop using, everything that goes wrong in your life is blamed on the fact that you've stopped. Now, when you have a mental block, instead of just getting on with it, you start to say, "If only I could check out my favorites now, it would solve my problem." You then start to question your decision to quit and escape from this slavery. If you believe that porn masturbation orgasming is a genuine aid to concentration, worrying about it will guarantee that you won't be able to concentrate. It is the doubting not the physical withdrawal pangs that causes the problem. Always remember, it is porn masturbation orgasmers who suffers pangs and not non-porn masturbation orgasmers. When I quit, I went overnight from using every day to 0 without any apparent loss of concentration. Relaxation. Most porn masturbation orgasmers think that porn masturbation orgasm helps to relax them. The truth is that internet porn used in porn masturbation orgasm acts like a chemical stimulant. The frantic search to get the fix in those dark alleys of the internet, and the internal struggle to rein in the dog straining at its leash for more shocking clips does not sound much like an activity of relaxation to me. One of the favorite porn masturbation orgasm sessions for most is the one after a trip to a new place or after a long day. As the night rolls in, we stop working. We sit down and relax, relieve our hunger and thirst, and are then completely satisfied. However, the poor porn masturbation orgasmer cannot relax, as he has another hunger to satisfy. He thinks of the porn masturbation orgasm as the icing on the cake, but it is the little monster that needs feeding. The truth is that the addict can never be completely relaxed, and as you go through life, it gets worse. The most stressed people on this planet are not porn masturbation orgasmers, but those young men and women who have the need to hunt with the misunderstood goal of orgasm, and their ignorance of and or low opinion of amative sex. Women who have subscribed to "I must orgasm" teachings are not even aware of the victim they have made of themselves. At this point, any sex that leads to climax and orgasm cease to relieve even partially the symptoms that they have created. I can remember when I was bringing up a family, if my child would do something wrong, I would quickly lose my temper to an extent that was out of all proportion to what he had done. My partner was always frigid and not interested in sex. Now I realize that if I had only tried the amative side of things, then maybe I could have relieved myself of a great measure of stress at least. If not at me, I'm sure she would have. One online comment reads, "I really believed that I had an evil demon in my makeup. I now know that I had. However, it wasn't some inherent flaw in my character, but the little internet porn monster that was creating the problem. During those times, I thought I had all the problems in the world, but when I looked back on my life, I wonder where all the great stress was. In everything else in my life, I was in control. The one thing that controlled me was this porn slavery. The sad thing is that even today I can't convince my children that it was the slavery that caused me to be so irritable. Every time I hear a porn addict trying to justify his addiction, the message is, 'Oh, it calms me. It helps me to relax.' On the internet, I read about a single dad whose 6-year-old son would want to share his bed sometimes in the night after a scary movie. Yet the dad would refuse under some pretense so he can have his porn masturbation orgasm session and edge for hours. Let me try a smoking analogy here. A couple of years ago, the adoption authorities threatened to prevent smokers from adopting children. A man rang up irate. He said, "You are completely wrong. I can remember when I was a child. If I had a contentious matter to raise with my mother, I would wait until she lit a cigarette because she was more relaxed then." Why couldn't he talk to his mother when she wasn't smoking a cigarette? Why are porn masturbation orgasmers so stressed when they are not getting their fix, even after a real sex with a real woman? I read about a guy who has 9s and 10s open for dating with him, as he was in the advertising field. I'm talking about dinner and stuff only. But he lost interest in those dinners, as his internet porn is far more easy for him. No restaurant spending and no hearing a no from his date at the end of an evening. Why would he bother when his little monster tells him about the low-risk, high-reward scheme called porn masturbation orgasm that is at his fingertips when he reaches home? Those real girls sure have competition. Why are non-porn masturbation orgasmers completely relaxed then? Why are porn masturbation orgasmers not able to relax without a fix for a day or two? If you read about the experience of a porn masturbation orgasmer, taking the abstinence oath and quitting, and you notice his struggle with the temptations, you can clearly see that they are not relaxed at all when they are not allowed to have the only pleasure they are entitled to enjoy. They've forgotten what it feels like to be completely relaxed. That's one of the many joys you have to come. The whole business of porn masturbation orgasming can be likened to a fly being caught in a pitcher plant. To begin with, the fly is eating the nectar. At some imperceptible stage, the plant begins to eat the fly. Isn't it time you climbed out of that plant